So, speaking of vibes, I introduce you to our next segment and last segment of the night. We'll be doing this every other Thursday, y'all, because it is the best way to heal is to keep it all real. This is therapy with a capital T, y'all. I'm so excited to introduce my vanilla wafer. She looking all dope with the eyes and man, if this was a video right now, you could see, you could see. Don't forget to tell them it only took me like 7 minutes. It took her 27 minutes to do these eyes. It took her 87 minutes to do these eyes, y'all. It took her 147 minutes. So therapy with a capital T is actually Hunter's idea.
It was. When I met Chris, we just like to dish it out with our friend Jessica here. And so we decided, let's make it a podcast. That fell through and we had a bunch of technical difficulties from different sides of the state.
And really quick shout out to It's a Mess Sis podcast. You can find It's a Mess Sis podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. And if you don't, I swear to Bobby Boucher, I will be knocking on your door, streaming it on a Beats by Dre speaker, just so you can dick it down.
Man, I love to dick it down with Mother Jessica.
Gotta dick it down,
Gotta
girl.
dick it down. It's like a weekly thing. Gotta get all those traumas out.
This is like a view into your room. This is what
therapy with a capital T, y'all. So it's really all about being vulnerable. You know, it's important to heal through the traumas and issues that we have, and in order to get to a place where we can once laugh about it. Well, when we can laugh about it in the future.
Or, just shove it deep real down and
no
cope by joking.
That's not how we do this here. You can't push things down. You gotta bring it up to the surface. This is why we're here. Yeah, this is the purpose.
This is my therapy session.
Of therapy, exactly. Therapy with a capital T for the purpose of branding. Therapy with a capital T.
Therapy within therapy. Mind.
Just shove all the feelings down.
So, Ashray, get vulnerable with us.
I see
Tell
you.
us your deepest traumas.
You want me to tell you a deep story? Past?
Even if the past is like 30 minutes ago.
30 minutes ago, man, I was embarrassed 30 minutes ago. Like that was the most embarrassing moment in my life. No. I'm trying to think of a story I haven't told you because
we're new. I don't know any stories.
Yes, there. Okay. Well, I've told Chris a good amount of stories because he brings that out of people. Somehow, I don't know how you do it, but you do. But I have a good idea. Why don't you share something and then I'll try to bounce out of it.
No. We ask you first.
I'm trying to think of something.
And on this show is DJ Mad Love, okay?
DJ Mad Love.
DJ Mad Love.
Yes.
Because the love is so mad that it feels so good. The host of It's a Mess is right here.
You're full of cliches right now.
We're getting so much judgment from the corner.
How am I full of cliches?
You are just full of cliches all the time.
We're supposed to be talking about traumatic issues and therapeutic conversation.
He keeps sidetracking.
We are not doing that, Ash, right?
It's impossible to go. It's impossible to go from nothing straight into traumatic.
It is so easy.
Issues.
Come on.
All right. I mean, as we all are probably feeling right now, pretty lonely. I guess we could start with something like that,
I don't know what you're talking about. I have 5 roommates.
He's living with his family right now.
You guys are good. You got a family going right there. I mean, I got my family here, so that's
exactly.
Cool. But
I love my family, but I could not live with them.
Yeah. So being away from a lot of people who I spent a lot of time with, recently and even before. I have to ask because, I'm here back in basically my hometown, right? And when you think about someone from your past, like someone from high school or even earlier, and you assign those memories to a place like here, and suddenly it's all gone, right? Like all of the people are somewhere else, the memories are years behind, right? Like you got there's some alienation there when you're like, damn, all this stuff, like it's no long, like I don't exist here anymore necessarily in the same way, you know and I haven't spent a good chunk of time here until like literally recently, in the last 2 years. So it's completely different, right? Coming from somewhere where you're completely on your own, and then coming back. And I was actually reading this article, because a lot of people are in the same situation right now with COVID. Like a lot of students have moved back in with their parents. A lot of people have gone back to where they came, where they grew up. And some people are like 40 years old and they're back in their hometown, right? And it's like there's some mental shift that happens when you move back to your
What do
hometown.
what do you feel like that is? Can you try to pinpoint that feeling?
I mean, I know for sure that when I'm here, or at least the times that I have been here, I haven't felt like I was the same person as I was, like it's like a bubble, right? You're in this bubble, and then you go outside of it and you suddenly feel like a different person. Like,
It's called personal growth.
That too.
yeah,
Do,
I
do
mean,
you
like,
feel like do you feel like CalArts is a bubble?
it can be, maybe for some people, it can be a bubble. I obviously, I mean, you can characterize, you can describe any group or setting as a bubble,
You can.
but in particular this one, like talking about like your family and your parents, and you know how do you act in front of your parents compared to like outside, right? Because
I got a whole
I'm
different
thinking,
personality in front of my family.
yeah, like it's a thing for everyone, right? So I feel like sometimes, I mean, I definitely hold back things in front of my family that I don't when I'm with other people,
Mm.
because I choose selectively what to show, just in front of different people, just like most people do subconsciously. But like I think consciously of doing that when I'm in front of my parents compared to with other people. Like it happens kind of on its own. But then with my parents,
What
I'm
is
like,
the that you speak of?
that
Yes, yes, yes.
the not like the holding things back. You mean
Mm.
like what am I holding back?
Yes, indeed.
A lot of things, I would say.
Ah!
Such a vague answer.
Don't jip us. Don't jip
I'll
us
go-
of our tea.
I'll go into more
Lit.
detail. I mean, for one, like relationships is a thing that I don't really talk with. I don't talk with my parents on many things. So,
I
Shout out to
definitely have it.
Ashray's parents who are listening right now. We love you very
Or
much.
my mom that tunes in, like, sorry, mom, I don't tell you anything.
but okay. So
Ashray
yeah,
just checked the
relationships.
viewers right now.
No, I did not. I swear.
Go. I'm sorry.
What was I
Sorry.
saying? One
You were
relationship.
telling us what you were holding back from your parents.
Even my music, honestly, like I don't share every part of what I'm doing with my parents. So like a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, why didn't you just share this, like what you've done? This is amazing, right?" Like you should share it with us so we can share it with like the rest of your family and everyone else. And like I don't know why it's just something I don't do. Like I don't consciously share things with my family because it doesn't feel like when I share my music, it's kind of like, hey, this is what I've done, right? But I've never had the desire to like please my parents or like, make them proud in certain ways. Like I felt like I would just do it and they would be proud. Like that was kind of how the
I
relationship worked,
wish I had that feeling.
you know?
Whatever. Your parents are proud of you.
Parent.
Parent. Yes.
I mean, yeah. It just it's there already, right? But then the same thing, so this, also applies to friends, cuz being someone's friend and being friendly with them and doing things that you would consider friends to be doing with each other isn't necessarily
Right.
what
What do friends do with each other?
Shush. Shush your face.
you know what I mean.
Do we?
Yeah, you have your own conversation going there. Why don't you share?
No.
Hey, if you have a side conversation, you got to share
No.
in class.
No, sorry, sir. No. Hell no.
Don't try to divert
Flex on
with a song.
So you show a different side.
Continuing
yourself.
on with friends.
So
There are things that you do,
but
right?
what I'm getting to is what I'm trying to dig at, Mr. Harishankar, Mr. Escapist, is what in particular are you showing to your mates that you do not show to your parents?
What in particular?
Yes. What in particular?
Well,
What do you not show
okay.
to your parents?
Now that I think about it, I do share a lot with my parents in the sense that like I don't like actively share, but I'm honest with them. You know what I mean?
Way?
Like if if they ask me about something, I will tell them like straight up.
Okay. But why do you not go to them and tell them, Mommy, I have
Like
something
I'm
to tell
not gonna be like, oh, like I'm, I wouldn't not tell them that I'm doing this radio show. Like that would not be truthful, right?
Okay.
But I might consciously forget to tell them that I'm doing this radio show.
Okay.
Because this is something that I'm doing and I'm not like thinking that they need to know that I'm doing this.
Yes.
But
But
I didn't tell my mom till today.
that's very surface level. I'm talking like, would you go to tell your mom, hey, Mom, I might have caught chlamydia?
Ooh.
I would tell because, I mean, those people are there to help, so
Oof.
if I'm in a problem, if I'm in a situation that I think my parents need to help me with, then I'll tell them. Like with relationship stuff, I'm not going to talk to them because they might be able to help, but I have other people to talk to for that. So
you won't go, Dad, I met a girl.
Okay, you never know though. You never know.
I met a man,
Dad.
You never know. It might happen, but
I mean, I keep my relation stuff pretty private from my mom, but I put that off to my childhood of I had no privacy. And now that I'm on the other side of the country, like I can choose what information she has or doesn't have.
Yeah. I mean, there's a different, right? Like when you're across the country. I was across the country like for college, and it was I barely talked to my parents. Like thinking about it right now, like I really had barely any contact with them over that time. And it was honestly the best time of my life, but then no, at the same
Honestly,
time
yeah.
though. At
I
the
don't have
same
my
time,
mom popping into work randomly to check up on me anymore.
at the same time though, like I was mentioning earlier, like the aspects of a relationship that you think you take them for granted, and now like that I'm home, I feel like since I've been home, I've kind of realized that there are things that I can actively choose to do with my parents or even with my friends that will that will make a noticeable difference. Like, because in the future, if I think about it, and I think that I realize I didn't do these things, even though our friendship might stay really consistent and good, or my relationship with my parents would stay good. These are things that go beyond that. Like, I'm thinking, like, because I know my parents will be there for me. I'm thinking, like, for me, as a independent person, growing independent person, like, having not had contact with my parents, being in the East Coast, like, am I the type of person that will be there for someone else when they need
Man,
me?
y'all so lucky. I'm here hearing about y'all, like, parents, and like you not being in so much contact, and then like your mom stalking you at work. My
Okay,
mom
that was
is
when I
literally like a
lived-
private investigator. She treats me like I'm like on the FBI's most wanted list. She's like so
Oh,
deep
man.
into my social media.
That's how my mom used to be. But she had a right. I was doing some horrible shit back when I was a teenager.
Yeah, maybe me too.
Well,
Like, I was a
there-
bad kid.
There's advantages to both, because for me, being kind of the opposite, where my parents didn't really manage me at all, having some sort of management does help. Like, you learn things that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. Because, like I was saying, like, I'm independent. Like, I or I think I'm independent. That's the thing. So,
No,
I
I've noticed you.
I'm led to believe that I can do things on my own and come to them whenever, right? But because that's kind of the relationship that's developed. But if they were like more on my shit, then I would have a different,
Relationship with them.
yeah, like, because now, like, I do take them for granted sometimes, right? But then if we had more of an active relationship where they were on, really involved in everything I was doing, for better or for worse, I feel like that would be like that would lead me to take them more seriously, as like treat them more seriously as people than just my parents.
Yeah, that's a hard thing, is like recognizing that your parents are people. They're not perfect.
I feel like that's the other way around. I feel like, especially minority parents, they forget to realize that their kids are people.
Yeah, I think my mom forgot.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, yeah, they sometimes they think, oh, they can just micromanage everything
Exactly.
and make a perfect kid,
I have desires, that are opposite of yours.
Exactly.
But I will
Don't
say,
need to
like,
more.
I will say minorities, like, in general, like, the way that parents, like, are harder on their kids, and like really determined that they want their kid to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really positive aspect of that type of parenting, even though it might lead to like negative consequences of the kid feeling like he's overburdened by their
Yeah.
by them and by everything they're doing, and I mean, it's in the same way, like, doing everything for your kids is just as much of a problem, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm raising
So-
my hand, people.
So yeah, it's got to be a good balance with them. But for me at least, I think, I'm that's one thing I want to work on, and I've been actively trying to work on, is like, let me actively be a part of this relationship, whatever it is.
Ooh, so that's a good segment because we're running out of time. Hunter,
Yes, darling.
in a world where you better yourself, what do you want to work on?
Probably same thing, just like actively because I kind of put my mom to the side. Like, you're all the way over there on the other side of the country.
Cold-blooded.
I know, I'm a horrible person.
In theaters near you, Christopher, or DJ Madlove, in a world where you want to better yourself. What do you want to do to better yourself? Well, I mean, I see myself just calling my mother a bit more and telling her that I love her. Great answer, buddy. So once again, this is DJ Mad Love, yo, and we
Did
talked about
Batman just make an
loneliness a
appearance?
little bit. Shut up! We talked about loneliness a little bit. So here's Danny Rivera on Lonely. He goes to a school that I don't know their acronym of, but it's NOCCCD. He released it September 22nd on Quadio Media, y'all. This is Lonely by Danny Rivera.
Let's hear it.
Oh, I forgot. I muted the whole page.
I caught myself this morning, I was reminiscing. I tried to tell myself that you were what I'm missing, but it's all a dirty trick.